Here we are live coming from Manette being stuck in the 80s.
Are you ready? Do you like it like that? I don't even remember what the song is or who the singer was, but you probably do.
I don't.
You don't? Wow. So in case you don't know, Brad loves music and he has a deep knowledge about all different kinds of music. And why are we talking about music? Hi, I'm Manette. This is Brad. We are the Path to Profit podcast, and this is episode 84. And I think it's our second episode of our productivity month, where we're bringing you some pretty fun topics and some pretty, I think, useful and valuable information around productivity, because what we have found in working with our own clients and with ourselves, maybe even more importantly, is everybody wants to be more productive and wants to get more done. And they're constantly looking outside of themselves for how to do more, do better, go faster. So we actually want to take a completely fresh perspective today and talk about how to slow down to speed up and bring more grace and ease to your business. I think we mentioned this on our last podcast, perhaps, that more grace and ease.
Yeah, definitely. We are tapping the brakes on a lot of things and just taking a breath and trying to get into that mode of doing some more quality practiced work. And we're going to talk about that quite a bit today. I think we'd like to start with, I don't think we'd like to start. We are going to start with a quote from one of my faves, Billy Joel, which is, "Slow down, you're doing fine. You can't be everything you want to be before your time." I don't know what song that's
I don't know
from,
what that song that's from either, but I thought the quote was pretty appropriate when I was doing my research this morning. So what does slow down to speed up mean?
Slow down to speed up. Well, you've got a whole bunch of stuff that down here on the page that we're going to
I
talk
want to
about.
I want to hear what you think, and then I can dive into some of the research that I found.
Always at a sort of unconscious level, when I think about slowing down, I think about taking a breath, physically taking a breath, and also mentally taking a breath, and that just means clearing the mind and coming back to the breath, from meditation or Zen perspective. But that slowing down brings focus back, where we might be in a mode where running around like a chicken with its head cut off, that type of thing.
Are you looking at me?
And we're trying to think about 3 different things at once, and we're not, and we have 25 browser tabs open. Yes,
No,
that's me.
That's not me. That's annoying.
And then it's time to really slow down. And I think we need to, as we talk about this, we need to integrate the grace and ease part with the slowing down part, I think. And then we get to the speeding up part.
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of fascinating. So I did some research on the topic because we came up with the topic and we had a sense of what that means to us. But I was curious, in the context of building a business, how is this being discussed? And there's actually a book out there called Slow Down to Speed Up that is a business building book. But the Harvard Business Review did a study of 343 businesses and said that the companies that embraced initiatives and chose to just keep going in order to gain a competitive edge, they actually made less money. Like, they had lower profits and they were exhausted and wiped out at the end. But firms that slowed down to speed up improved their top and their bottom line, averaging 40% higher sales and 52% higher operating profits over a 3-year period. So how did they do that? Like, what is the actual physics of slowing down to speed up? So it's a couple of different things. So one of those things was finding alignment, making sure that your entire team is completely aligned with the project that you're working on. That was one piece. The other piece was picking one project to focus on, which we've been talking a lot about on this trek this month through productivity, about why we're using quarterly projects, why people are talking about 90-day sprints or the 90-day year or the 12-week plan, because it brings focus to the projects. Brad and I personally, as Brad mentioned already, letting go of projects that don't matter. But I think the most important thing was getting everyone on the same page about what the most important focus is in the moment. Even if you're a team of one, you can do this. Even if you're a team of one, you can narrow your focus to the one most important project.
Yeah. The image of a a canoe or a rowboat with multiple paddlers comes to mind. You really do need everybody paddling in the
In the
same
same
direction.
direction. Yes. Thinking of
um,
those big war canoes.
yep, same deal though.
Yeah.
You just can't, you can't have people out of sync with stuff. But I've been, it's interesting because I've been in, I spent a long time in software in a large company, largish, medium. Um, and it seemed like there were always heavy deadlines and pressure and all of these things. And I think I could tell at a visceral level that it just didn't work for me in terms of, um, it wasn't the best way to create. It was really just, what do I have to do next? What do I have to do next? What do I have to do next? It was never sit down, get better at something, do a great job at something. It was, do your best in the allotted time, and that's really not that effective
And it's the
for
opposite of our personal goal this year, which is on the one hand, grace and ease, and on the other hand is mastery,
Mhm.
right? And so the other thing that the Harvard Business Review found was that companies that slowed down, that they intentionally brought more spaciousness, encouraged more innovative thinking. People were more creative because they were allowed time to reflect and learn. They fixed things that might have been put out there too fast and caused a lot of havoc in the marketplace. They took the time to test their message. They fostered better employee collaboration. And so you might be wondering, as a creative, what on earth does a Harvard Business Review of big companies have to do with us personally? But we found ourselves falling into this trap of, I got to buy that course, I got to learn that skill, I got to master this talent, I got to buy more education, more learning so I can go faster, make this all happen faster. I got really personally caught up in that
Yep, definitely.
over the last couple of years, and I'm more comfortable working fast than Brad is, but Brad brings the thoughtfulness and the question asking that we need in order to get things right. And so I think between the two of us, we have found that alignment around what project matters most right now has helped to steer our work in some pretty magical ways.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't think that, I don't think that if you don't enter that mode of slowing down and adding grace and ease, it's a lot harder to find a flow state for your creativity or any work that you're doing in your business. And really, that's what we're looking for. Is we're looking for that flow state. And at the beginning, maybe this is like practicing piano, or it's like wind sprints or whatever it is. You're going to be slow to start.
Painting that dang Buddha.
Yeah, right. You're going to be slow to start, and you're not a master, but the practice that you do has to be effective practice. And the way to do that at the beginning is to slow down. And then as you practice more, you speed up because you get better at it. You don't speed up because you're putting more pressure on yourself.
It's so true. And I loved what Brad said about taking a deep breath and pausing right now in the moment. And it's funny, you guys have heard us a lot on this podcast talk about how much we admire Ryan Deiss and at digitalmarketer.com. And he had a great article this week about something very similar, about looking at your projects and picking even just one aspect of a project to slow down and focus on improving. One of our core values as a company, and I think as individuals as well, as continuous improvement, always be learning. But that can be a detriment as well as a gift, because if I'm always focused on learn more, get better, go faster, I'm not pausing to say, where can I just improve what I already have in place?
Yeah, it's awfully difficult to reach mastery when you're just on to learning the next thing. Which is especially true maybe for a learning junkie like Minette.
Yes, I am such a learning junkie. It's totally true. And then there's a whole nother aspect of slowing down to speed up that I think is really important, and maybe something we're not always the best at, or we're getting better at as we get older and our kids get older. I think this helps a lot as well. And that's resting and
Mm-hmm.
taking planned, scheduled breaks, whether that's a walk at lunchtime or 2 weeks in Hawaii. there are lots of studies that have been done, but I think our own noticing has been that creativity actually stops when we're full. If we're so caught up in the details and the minutia of just getting everything going faster, we can't problem solve. We can't think critically or creatively. We fail to innovate. We fail to see, well, actually, this is great. It just needs some improvement over here in order to make it do what we want it to. So planned breaks and rest is really important.
Yeah, the word that comes to mind is spaciousness,
Yeah.
and maybe we should add that to our focus of grace and ease. Maybe it should be grace and ease
Well,
and
I
spaciousness.
think you get grace and ease when you allow for spaciousness, when you
Right,
have planned spaciousness.
right. And we're both guilty of failing on that matter. And
Workaholics,
yeah,
total
definitely,
workaholics.
just sit down and get after it. And um I think this came up in a recent break that we had where it took me probably it normally takes me 5 to 7 days just to wind down if I'm not working. But I came back so refreshed after that. And I realized that I just need that more than rather than less. I know as entrepreneurs, if you're of the Gary Vaynerchuk mold, maybe you're getting after it 24/7, and that works for some people, maybe in their 20s and early 30s. But as folks around 50, that's not
But
really
I
that
think in our
effective.
20s, we worked hard, but we played hard also, right?
Yeah,
And we've lost sort of the play hard mentality. I found with I mentioned on the last podcast about this Buddha painting that I've been struggling with, and
right.
I had a breakthrough this morning about how I've been approaching this. Normally, I'm someone who loves the journey as much as the destination, and I got really caught up in making it perfect and having it look right, and I forgot about how much I love the journey. And I've never had a painting keep me awake at night, or I'd wake up thinking about what I wanted to do differently. And you're laughing at me, I know, but it's he's watching me struggle with this painting, and I got into I just want to get it done so I can move into the next painting. And what this painting needed was more layers, more time,
Right.
more stepping away and pausing for a moment. And I'm pretty happy with where he's going, and I don't care if anybody else likes it. I also let go of caring what anybody else thinks about it and having fun with it, and remembering that, as I do with lots of my painting, at the end of the day I'm probably just going to paint over him anyway.
Yeah, right.
Right? So not getting caught up and so attached to the canvas
Hmm.
was a big part of that.
Interestingly, this Buddha is now a woman, from as far as I can tell, but uh, that's cool too.
Is a woman because it looks feminine to
Yeah, yeah,
you.
yeah,
The
yeah.
face looks feminine, so maybe it's not a Buddha, it's just something else. Who
Nobody
knows?
said the Buddha couldn't be female.
This is true. So there, the whole concept of slowing down to speed up, there was this great conversation on a blog post, and we'll put links to some of our research in the show notes as well, by a woman named Tia Silvestre Godfrey, who talked about slow marketing and how it has a branding issue because nobody wants to talk about slow marketing, but how slowing down actually came out of the slow food movement in the late 80s. So 30 years ago, people were talking about the slow food movement, and look how long it took it to gain kind of more visibility in the marketplace. But this whole concept of, so she defines slow from somebody named Petrini, the founder of the slow food movement. And here's the definition of slow. Being slow means that you control the rhythms of your own life. You decide how fast you have to go in any context. If today I want to go fast, I go fast. If tomorrow I want to go slow, I go slow. What we are fighting for is the right to determine our own tempos.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that. I think I would add to it. I mean, we're fighting. In my mind, I'm fighting to do good work. So
At your own pace,
yeah, 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 yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that tempo piece, it's funny, cadence, rhythm, tempo are themes that have been coming up over and over in our own business planning and conversations around productivity personally.
Hmm.
But I love that whole reminder, and I remember one of my mentors saying this one time about how he works, and it's sprint, rest, sprint, rest. He's standing up on stage hilariously, like leaping around the stage, going sprint, rest,
Right.
sprint, rest. And I always come back to that idea of sprint, rest, sprint,
That's the
rest.
way kids run.
That's the way kids run. Actually, it's the way kids live,
Yeah.
right? Sprint, rest, sprint, rest. It's human nature, I think, to sprint, rest, but we've gotten so caught up in our age of modernism where speed is the only thing that matters. The fastest, the best, the biggest, the richest, the what,
And the grind, right?
yeah, and yeah, it has become a grind. So this whole concept of slow down to speed up is one that we're really sitting with personally. So how would you say that you're personally implementing this year?
I'm working on focus personally. This has been a struggle for me for quite some time. Working on focus blocks where I can do a better job of whatever it is I'm working on. A big part of this for me is having a plan in place, an effective plan in place that doesn't overburden us. We have a tendency to I know we've talked about this
Too
before.
many promotions.
Yeah, where we just or we schedule a promotion immediately after one completes, or that type of thing, and that's not effective. It doesn't give us time to catch up with our editorial or
catch up doesn't give us time to get ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
We're always feeling that under the gun.
I think we're doing better I'm doing better by delegating some more stuff. So, building a process to hand off to our virtual assistant that allows me to take on different work. But I think the main thing is that I'm just trying to practice getting a job done well, and thinking about that as I'm working on whatever the task is.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so funny. So one of the processes that I use with my clients is called soul collage. And I actually have a picture of one of my soul collage cards that I made that has a guy with a gun to his head.
Ugh.
And it's not a pretty card. And it's so often how we can make ourselves feel. Because what I want you to remember as a creative entrepreneur, and what I'm constantly reminding myself every single day, is that in each and every moment we have a choice. We have a choice for the project that we focus on. We have a choice to how we're spending our time. I hear so many creatives, myself included, constantly laughingly talking about our bright shiny idea syndrome. And I love my bright shiny ideas, but I've learned that they don't all need my attention at once. So making very specific choices about what projects are going to get the best of me right now, and the other ones just get set aside. And there's something that feels very different for us this year that feels very enriching. I think there has been more spaciousness in our schedule. Are we still doing as much work? I think so, but it's really focused work, right? And it feels really good to be diving deep and to be paying careful attention to where we're putting our effort and our focus.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This podcast is an example, where we said, okay, we need to up our game, and upping our game in our case meant actually doing focused work on each part of the podcast process. Now, maybe you're not doing a podcast, but maybe you're rewriting a speech, or maybe you're rewriting a talk for networking.
Or want to get more traffic to your blog.
Right. And it means that you put aside a bunch of other things that you thought you needed to do. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to do the writing or write a blog post or whatever it is, that you just focus on that and you do your best on it. Mm-hmm. So you can walk away from it and actually feel like it's done. That's a really key point, I think, is that you've taken the time to complete something. And maybe it took you extra time, and maybe it meant that some things that should have got done didn't get done, but the world didn't end, and you actually completed something. I think I was definitely running into that over the last couple of years, where I did a quick job of a whole bunch of things, and they never really got finished.
And
And
because they didn't get finished, they didn't function, they didn't make us money, they
right.
didn't improve our marketing. And not to blame Brad
No.
at all, but it was often, Brad and I going, but wait, we got to go over here there because there's money over here, or everybody says that we need to be doing this. Let's go try that. And so we never took the time to put
Hmm.
the work in to build the foundations, in particular for some of the digital marketing. Like there's parts of our business that work really well and run really flawlessly and we love. And then there's parts of our business where we have been just sort of skating the surface and not really looking at how can we just continue to make this one piece better. So yeah, podcast and Facebook are the two places that we're doing some more deep specific work.
Yeah. And I guess we have a few things like that where we need to ask ourselves, is it really important to just be giving this cursory or you know, light treatment in our business as opposed to not doing it at all? I mean, we post to LinkedIn, but we don't really do any work specifically with LinkedIn. We don't monitor it.
Or
So
Twitter.
why are we there if, if we're not going to do a great job of it, if we're not going to slow down, think about it, give it, like I said, a deep treatment, what's the point? It's just it's, time spent or time wasted.
And it creates those open loops where, oh my gosh, I should be doing more on Twitter. I should be doing more on LinkedIn. I should. And we can shoot ourselves to death. So it's just that noticing. Um, and I had sorry, I totally lost my thought there for a moment. One of the things that we asked ourselves about where we wanted to put our intention and attention and effort and money and focus and everything this year is what's fun for us, right? It was one of the playful things that we asked. We actually let go of some of the blogging that we were doing
Hmm.
because we weren't approaching it from a place of joy and fun. We were just getting it done.
Right.
So we let go of some of the blogging and we said the podcast is one of the things that's really fun for us.
You know what's interesting about that is, yeah, we let go of some things that weren't enjoyable, but as it turns out for me, one of the things that's really fun is getting good at something and doing a complete job, right? That might just be doing the dishes,
Yeah.
but actually doing a great job of it is the fun part, because there's a sense of completion, of wholeness, and just having done something in my life with grace and ease and spaciousness.
Yeah. Yeah. Like for me that this morning, that was cleaning the kitchen,
Right.
putting the turkey on to make a pot of soup and the house will smell really good all day. Turkey curry for dinner tonight.
Yum.
And it's we could have this whole same conversation from a Buddhist and mindfulness perspective of just bringing more mindfulness to everything that we do, but it is also about pacing and learning to pace yourself in a way that feels fully aligned and in a way that allows for more deep work and more mastery.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're listening or watching us on YouTube, I hope that you can take away, on the next task that you're going to do in the next 5 minutes or the next hour. Um, just sit there for a minute before you start putting pen to paper or hands to the keyboard, and think about what it would mean to slow down and do a fantastic job of what you want to do. Um, and maybe the first time or the first 100 times you won't do that, but I think it's a great way to view the work that you do.
Totally, absolutely. And one of the best ways we know to support people in slowing down to speed up is by managing your to-do list and your time. It's a choice again to decide how much you can actually get accomplished every day. So we have an amazing planner we created called the Artful Profit Planner,
Woohoo.
and it's beautiful. It has a brand new edition. It's the 30-day Artful Profit Planner is totally free. You can go to artfulprofitplanner.com,
Mhm.
download your free copy and a video training from me personally walking you why we set it up this way. This is not an agenda. This is not a, I need to get to this meeting by when. This does not replace a calendar or a scheduler. This is about focusing in on the particular tasks each day that will help you make money, or get better at marketing and create massive momentum in your business. It teaches you how to chunk those big ideas and projects down into tiny bite-sized steps so that you're taking small steps every day. And we call it our daily big six. When you have no more than 6 things on your to-do list and you commit to doing them before you go to bed, I promise that you will see incredible results. So again, it was a passion project of mine to create this. Our son had
And
a
you get
big
to color
hand
it.
in designing. It's full of mandalas, affirmations, celebrations, and gratitudes. It's a whole process that I promise will bring more joy, intention, and focus to your business. So I invite you to go and check that out. And on our very next episode,
That's artfulprofitplanner.com, and we'll have that link in the show notes.
awesome, artfulprofitplanner.com. How many times can we say it and really annoy people? Artfulprofitplanner.com. It's a little bit of a mouthful. All spelled out, artfulprofitplanner.com. But on our next episode, we're going to continue our conversations around productivity and bring a completely different perspective that would also contribute to slowing down and speeding up, which is all about how to get more leverage in your business. And from my perspective, leverage is the creative entrepreneur's best productivity hack.
Cool.
That's what we're going to be talking about.
We'll see you then.
All right. Have a good one.